Good evening to you and your audience. The incident of Raisi has an impact on several levels, in particular on the popular, official, and the regional levels. The popular level, there was a popular shock within Iran regarding the death of Raisi in that way. As the Iranian situation inside, that there was a big concern and the possibility of the Iranian state to secure the president of the republic. Officially, doors were open for conflict domestically or within the official institution in Iran. Ibrahim Raisi wasn't only the president of the republic, but he was a very prominent name in the Iranian system, and he was nominated to replace the Ali Khamenei, and his death came to reformulate the political equations in the Iranian system in general. On the regional level, Raisi was in a had a very good project politically in the regional neighborhood. With respect to particular the Arab Gulf countries or restore the relations with the Egyptian state and others his ambitions regionally. His death came to cause the rearrange of the cards with respect to the regional political aspects, and hence the landscape following the death of Raisi was opened in a state of hesitation politically inside. In addition to the restore of the moderate current, or rather the reform current as an alternative of the political current represented by Raisi at that time, which is in a hard line belonging to the Iranian state strongly. The death of Raisi opened the door of the possibility of the emerging the opposition political current, on top of which the reform won, and the other current that targeted to be in the front of the political landscape during the phase followed by Raisi. This image of Pezeshkian, or the presidential election, represented by the contradictions parties of that process in that time, the very hard-lined current of Said Khalidi, or the semi-reformal or moderated by Pezeshkian, and the result was in favor of the reform. And therefore, the death of Raisi in that way that opened a great space of contradictions domestically, and in addition, a space of political conflict that has still impact in Iran within inside.
Well, Dr. Lashin, now you've mentioned how the impact really the death of Raisi impacted the governance of Iran domestically, but also how did the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh affect the regional dynamics between Iran and Israel?
The assassination of Ismail Haniyeh was a turning point or pivotal point in the escalations of the Israeli-Iranian relationships. Firstly, that proved undoubtedly that there was a very strong Iranian violations by Israel that showed afterward, as announced by Israel, that the spot of residence of Ismail Haniyeh was breached, that reflected the weakness of security of the VIP. Also the capabilities of Israel in breaching very, very important spots. Also the timing of assassination was a very important point. Firstly, he was assassinated upon the inauguration of Pezeshkian as a clear message from Israel to Iran that the inauguration reception would turn over to a very dangerous crisis inside Iran. The assassination of Ismail Haniyeh that give a chance of negative relationship between Israel and Iran and mutual accusation were public, not just singles that in the political discourse of the Iranian political. And there was a clear accusation for Israel penetrated the domestic landscape in Iran and impacted regionally as Iran was itself as a capable, the only capable state to pose a threat to Israel and to have arms in the region, on top of which Hezbollah previously or Al-Assad's regimes or even the Houthis. The assassination of Haniyeh, in addition to Iran's support to Hamas at that time, the assassination of Haniyeh gave a very negative impression of Iranians' capability in pertaining its regional system and its failure of security inside that led therefore the hesitation of the Iranian image regionally or domestically within inside Iran. A great portion of Iran, the political discourse targeted inside Iran, not outside Iran, and therefore the orientation of the political discourse within Iran witnessed some sort of hesitation or non-confidence directed to the Iranian people. If Iran wasn't able to secure its internal border or its intelligence border, then it became very easy to penetrate inside. That was the Iranian people were saying. That led to the escalation of the tension between Iran and Israel as a correction of reformulated regional image within and before the people inside Iran in that matter.
Highlighted the difference and the shift in governance under the rule of Pezeshkian as opposed to his predecessor. So what are the key challenges locally that are facing Masoud Pezeshkian as Iran's new president?
In fact, Pezeshkian is facing several challenges, most importantly the economic file inside Iran and the regional dossier. In addition, that Iran's direction to lift the sanctions to deal with the Western countries. Domestically, Pezeshkian came in a very critical point with respect to the Iranian economy. We are talking about that a state of inflation rate that exceeded 40%, that alarms an economic crisis, and the decrease of wages inside and the conflicts of the political spectrum economically, i.e., that Iran is dominated economically by the Revolutionary Guard system. And the main challenge before Pezeshkian is attempt to have a solution of economic dominated by the opposition, or to be opened before the free market that Pezeshkian is pursue. And therefore the economic file is in a very sensitive and sophisticated on the popular level and the state level. The main challenge before Pezeshkian that led him to be president as such chosen by the electoral people, which is the improve the economy within inside, which is the most important file to Pakistan. And then the most important challenge is the level of the regional relations or the regional challenges that are very big. The timing of choosing Pezeshkian to take the post of the president is very critical, as the region is on fire currently. The time of choosing Pezeshkian, we've had the crisis between Hamas and Israel, and the beginning of entering Lebanon in that phase, and the disagreement with the Syrian regime. All these issues were on the table before Pezeshkian for discussion or to issue decisive resolution, but Pezeshkian was trying all the time to maintain the space of the regional relations, in particular with the Gulf countries or the regional states in general, and made several visits to strengthen Iran's relations with the neighboring countries, in addition to his personal desire to improve the relation to the Egyptian state. Added to his attempt on the Western and international level to showcase Iran as a more opening state to negotiate with the West, taking into consideration that upon the timing of the inauguration of Pezeshkian, so at the beginning of presidential elections in the USA, that led to Donald Trump to be a president. Therefore, he has a great challenge before Trump that deals with Iran as a state, a hostile state to USA, and before Iran, an international challenge to improve the relations with the Arab countries and the USA in particular. The most importantly, the main challenge for the state and Pezeshkian is to lift the economic sanctions to improve the image of Iran, in addition to an attempt of improving the economy inside. That most reports indicate that Iran is approaching a very important and dangerous economic crisis if it is not to improve or partially to lift some sanctions. In addition to the nuclear dossier and its negotiations between Iran and the Western Bloc, which is one of the biggest files to be dealt by Pezeshkian. In another way, it is trying to maintain the Iranian relations with the Western axis or the Eastern axis, such as Russia and China, and the negotiations between Iran and Russia that has a great positive impact in this time. Before Pezeshkian, several challenges domestically, regionally, and internationally, and he's trying to deal in a way or another very sensitively that all the files have become are intercepted with each other between the internal or domestic affairs and the regional and the international affairs as well.